So we're welcoming now the team AI Wonder Girls. The stage is yours.
Thank you for the introduction. Let me just quickly share my screen. Can you guys confirm you can see my screen? Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much. So hello, and thank you for joining back to our presentation and all the others that are coming as well. So let me just quickly introduce you to our team. We are the AI Wonder Girls. We are a very proud all-women team from all over the world with different tech backgrounds and also different interests such as cats, living in Mars, and liking Harry Potter, among other things. So for our project in this hackathon, we aim to acknowledge the lack of diversity in the arts world. And research shows that although women are about half of the art students, still the majority of the work that is promoted in exhibitions all over the world is still by white men. And although this, like here that I'm showing is for the US, this is still a pattern that we see all over the world. So we thought, what if we could create an application that promotes the work of female artists? And what if we can also use AI to create new art that is completely based on the work of women artists? And just to make it more awesome, what if this application could be fully implemented by an all-women team, the AI Undergirls? So this is our Athena Art Assistant. This is the project, our project for this hackathon. And our plan was to create an application that helps users following like three fronts. The first one is to get to know the work of women artists via recommender systems. So this is what we have over here. Then we also have the art creation from AI and like a combination of AI and women's work of art using advanced techniques such as style transfer or recurrent neural networks, and maybe also some animations as well. And we also want to help users to become familiar with the statistics about diversity in the arts world, doing this through data analysis in this part of our application that is about diversity in numbers, just in terms of visualizations and so on. So we also want to enhance the user experience by adding what we call an AI assistant that is basically like an audio feature that mimics the audio guides that we also have in museums. So the way this could work is, for example, if you go here to Art by Women, you can have recommendations, and the AI art assistant can tell you, for example, just give you some audio information about the artist or also about the art itself that is being recommended to you. And those other features that I mentioned about art, AI creation would be under the Athena art and also like the diversity. And this is an idea to make this is an open source project that can be expanded to other uses of applications as well as other data as well. So one important thing about our project is that we are following a data-centric approach, which means that we are using technology that already exists, but we are trying to see this from the perspective of data. So in a way, we are trying to create art and promote art, but using art exclusively produced by women, and we can also expand to other minority groups such as non-binary and other groups. And the idea is to make this an open source project. So for our prototype for this hackathon, of course, because in terms of limitations of time, we plan to start with some AI creations, especially for painting and poetry, using style transfer and recurrent neural networks, and also make initially recommendations for movies and maybe series as well that are created by, or either directed or written, like the scripts written by women. We plan to implement this using Flask API, REST APIs and also Flask. And the idea is to create an application that has the potential to enhance the visibility of the work of women in arts, also make art creations that are purely from machine and women, and educate the general public about diversity in the art world. So this is our roadmap. So now we already passed some brainstorming and data mining parts. We are now in the pre-processing kind of stage of our project, and we still have, of course, down the line the modeling, deployment, and as was mentioned before, also like the communication, like how we will present all of this to the public and like just to get evaluated and so on. So of course we have also challenges and learnings and so on. So for challenges, it's a bit tricky to find, of course, open source data, specifically when it's about women, because there's, of course, a lot of open source data out there, but when you have to filter out the women's part, we still don't have so much. So, and also like we have a very technical team. We have a graphic designer in our team, but we still have a little bit of this lack of domain knowledge in terms of the art world. So the way we are trying to tackle this problem is by learning from artists. Like we're trying to reach out to some artists to just like learn how we can help, or what kind of art would be even interesting for them to have over there. And for that, we are also like leveraging our knowledge, like just extending our knowledge to just learn more advanced AI techniques. And we are very proud to be an all-women team, also following a data-centric approach, which means that we don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel, but we have to change the perspective of how we apply the things that already exist. In our case, promoting the work of women. So that's basically all I have to show you. And thank you all. Thank you, the sponsors, and thank you all the teams for being here. I'm like very excited to see so many nice presentations. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I already see a question in the Zoom room, so go ahead, Celia. You are muted.
Hello, sorry, I was muted. Thank you for this very interesting presentation. I wanted to ask you, what is exactly the output that you want to create with this project? Because I understand the data-centric approach and the fact that you will feed a model with with art created by women. But what is the final goal? Is it to create an AI model that creates art in with a female view, or like what will be the output? What is the goal?
Sure. So our goal is to create like a web application where the user can either just go there to get recommendations about women artists via recommender systems. So this is one feature of our tool. The second one would be that you can create art, as you said, like that is fully created by the work of women. So, or at least that is trained mainly on the work of women. So for example, we have usually these AI models. There are like, of course, like if you use transfer learning, it still have like lots of other works, but we will be focusing on the work of women. And then it's like a creation that comes from women and AI. And for this specific hackathon, we plan to do a prototype that, for example, we can create poetry that is based on the poems of women, and only the poems of women. Of course, we can think of like some specific topics and so on, but exclusively from women artists. And the same thing for paintings. We can create style transfer, this thing that you can use like the features of each image based on the work of women. And then, for example, the users can upload their own picture and then just change the style to the style of a women artist. Or like people usually do this, like, I don't know, with the Starry Night or something like this, then we can use with the work of women artists as well. And of course, this can be later on expanded to other topics. And as much as we get more data itself, like for example, artists can in the long run come and contribute and maybe give some of their artwork to feed the AI models, and just learn how the AI is created only by their own artwork, but it's specifically for women. That's the idea.
Okay, thanks. That's super interesting. Like, I think this is a really interesting project, and congratulations on pursuing it. I would recommend that you add a little bit of theory to it, like in terms of ethics of what this project goes around, and especially like to avoid pitfalls like the so-called Smurfette effect, where that will, just select women just for the sake of being women. So yeah, like I would recommend adding a bit of like a gender theory in this, but this is really interesting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Bettina, you wanted to ask something
Yes,
as
I
well?
also congratulations to your project. I think it's really it's still important in 2021 to really highlight the achievement of women, even maybe more. And I think it adds quite some good things. My question was why you restrain yourself on painting in this first. Yeah, just a question.
Thanks for your question. And yeah, like we are just trying to see, just because of course, like we are, this is not a project that we already have. So we are building this in, of course, like within this 6 weeks since we started to work on it. And so we're trying to see like basically what is the easiest thing like, to do in this period of time. So not necessarily easiest, but like the most easy in terms of finding the data. So we managed to look into some like data, for example, for the Smithsonian Art Gallery and from about poetry and so on. So those seem to be the most straightforward. We are considering also using, for example, animations as well. Like, for example, that some teams also showed like just trying to create, for example, from codes, try to create like images and animations out of this. But this is something that it can be expanded, and the idea is to be expanded, and this is to be, so it's supposed to be an open source project, both from the perspective like of AI people that can contribute with more technical features, and also from the perspective of the data from the artists that can come and say, hey, what about we created a recommender system, for example, for dance or for, I don't know, music and so on. So that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really asking because painting is still a very important art form, but most of the artists I know, for example, are not painting anymore. They do many different they find many different other forms of expression.
Yes, like I think when we look into open source, and I may be wrong, but like when we look into open source, we have the kind of like the easy part of looking into whatever thing that is very old, because then it's open access for everybody. Like looking to modern art, there's the challenge, and we will be very happy if we can find more data so we can enhance like the experience as well.
I mean, the problem is that since until at least in Western art, until the 1960s, women weren't invited or weren't very successful.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then first started out in video productions.
True.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks from here. So Barry wants to ask an important question also.
I don't have a question, but I have a statement. This is one of the most complete use cases I've seen. And coming from the male-dominated community in Silicon Valley, I love more than anything to see an all-women team. And what you guys here is have here potentially, if you make this happen, it could be more than a product. This could be a community, the way you've done it open source. And
exactly, that's the idea. That's the idea. And I mean, it doesn't need to be like we are all an all-women team implementing things, but of course, like we also have allies, right? So we are happy to have anyone that can help promoting the work of women and minorities in general, and so on. So the idea is to make something that can be sustainable and grows and so on. So thank you.
Code like a girl.
Nice, thank you for this. So we have to move on.